Commander Isabella Santos stood at the observation deck of Deep Space Research Station Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the endless expanse of stars beyond the reinforced glass. The station's gentle hum had become as familiar as her own heartbeat during the past 3 years, but tonight something felt different. The void seemed to whisper secrets she couldn't quite grasp. "Commander, we're picking up something unusual." Lieutenant James Harrison's voice crackled through the comm system, breaking her reverie. "You might want to see this." The walk to the command center took exactly 47 steps, she'd counted them countless times during her late-night rounds. The station's skeleton crew of 15 was operating at peak efficiency, despite being stationed at the edge of known space. As she entered, the usual symphony of beeping monitors and humming equipment was overshadowed by an odd, pulsing signal on the main display. "It started about 10 minutes ago," Harrison explained, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "The pattern doesn't match any known human or allied species distress beacons." Isabella leaned closer, studying the strange wavelength patterns. "Origin. Sector 7 Alpha, approximately 3 light-hours from our position." Technical Officer Riya Patel joined them, her expression a mixture of excitement and concern. "But that's impossible, there's nothing out there except dead space." The signal pulsed again, stronger this time. Isabella felt it in her bones, a haunting melody that seemed to bypass their equipment and speak directly to her consciousness. She'd spent enough time in space to trust her instincts, and right now, they were screaming that this was important. "Plot an intercept course," she ordered, straightening her uniform. "But keep us at safe distance initially. Launch probe drones for preliminary scanning." The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. The station's massive engines, usually dormant, hummed to life as they adjusted their position. The signal grew stronger, more desperate, as they approached its source. Finally, their long-range scanners detected something, a ship, but unlike any they'd encountered before. "Energy readings are off the charts," Riya reported, her voice tight with tension. "The hull composition. I've never seen anything like it. It's almost organic." The vessel came into visual range, a sleek, almost crystalline structure that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Its surface rippled like liquid metal, despite obvious damage to multiple sections. Emergency force field bubbles containing precious atmosphere flickered weakly around several breaches in the hull. "Life signs?" Isabella asked, though she already knew the answer. Someone, was alive in there, calling out. "One," Harrison confirmed. "Weak, but stable. No signs of any other crew." Isabella made her decision. "Prep Rescue Team Alpha. I'll lead the boarding party myself." The rescue operation was textbook perfect, until it wasn't. They'd successfully docked with the alien vessel, the magnetic seals engaging with a satisfying thunk. The boarding team, consisting of Isabella, Medical Officer David Kumar, and Security Chief Teresa Rodriguez, moved through the ship's eerily organic corridors with practiced precision. They found her in what appeared to be the bridge, a Zylaxian woman, her silvery skin bearing the characteristic bioluminescent patterns of her species. She was unconscious but alive, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. The Zylaxians were known throughout the galaxy, but few humans had ever encountered one in person. They were a reclusive species, possessed of powerful telepathic abilities and technology that bordered on magical. "Careful," Teresa warned, her hand never far from her weapon. "The Zylaxians are protected by Article 7 of the Galactic Accord. We help, but we maintain protocols." Dr. Kumar ran his scanner over the alien woman's prone form. "Multiple injuries, severe exhaustion, but nothing life-threatening. We need to get her to medical bay." As they prepared to move her, the Zylaxians' eyes snapped open, all 3 of them. They glowed with an inner light, and Isabella found herself frozen in place as a voice echoed through her mind. "Please, help us. They're coming." The alien's consciousness brushed against hers like silk over steel, desperate yet controlled. Images flooded Isabella's mind, massive warships emerging from fold space, worlds burning, and a darkness spreading across the galaxy like a cancer. They must be stopped, before it's too late. Isabella staggered as the connection broke, her head spinning with the aftereffects of the telepathic contact. She'd been trained to resist psychological manipulation, but this felt different, raw, urgent, and terrifyingly real. "Get her to medical," she ordered, her voice hoarse. "Full quarantine protocols, but priority care." She tapped her comm unit. "Harrison, I want continuous long-range scans. If anything larger than a meteor enters this sector, I want to know about it." As they carried the unconscious Xylaxian back to their ship, Isabella couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. The woman's warning echoed in her mind, along with questions she couldn't answer. Who were they? What was coming? And why had this powerful being, whose species was known for their independence and isolation, come to humans for help? The Horizon's medical bay doors sealed behind them with a hiss, and Isabella watched through the quarantine field as Dr. Kumar began treatment. The Xylaxian's bioluminescent patterns pulsed weakly, like a failing star about to go dark. Whatever had brought her here, whatever she was running from, Isabella had a sinking feeling that this was only the beginning. She touched the reinforced glass of the quarantine chamber, watching the mysterious visitor's chest rise and fall. "Welcome to Horizon," she whispered. "I hope we don't regret this." 3 days passed before the Xylaxian regained consciousness. During that time, Deep Space Research Station Horizon had been a hive of barely contained anxiety. The crew's attempts to access the alien ship's database had proved futile, its systems were completely dark, and what remained of its technology seemed to be deteriorating at an alarming rate. "It's like it's decomposing," Rhea explained during the morning briefing, gesturing to the holographic display of their mysterious visitor's vessel. "The organic components are breaking down at a cellular level. In another week, there might be nothing left to study." Commander Isabella Santos absorbed this information with a frown. She'd spent countless hours watching the alien woman through the quarantine field, trying to make sense of the violent images that had been pushed into her mind during their brief telepathic contact. The dreams hadn't stopped. Every night she saw those same warships, those burning worlds, and woke up drenched in cold sweat. "Commander." Dr. Kumar's voice came through her comm unit, tight with excitement. "She's awake." Isabella found Teresa Rodriguez already at the medical bay, weapon holstered but ready. Through the quarantine field, the Xylaxian woman sat upright on the biobed, her silvery skin shimmering with complex patterns of light that seemed to respond to her emotions. All 3 of her eyes were open now, their iridescent pupils focusing immediately on Isabella as she entered. "I am Naira," the alien woman spoke aloud this time, her voice carrying an otherworldly harmonic quality. "Thank you for saving my life, Commander Santos." "How do you know my name?" Isabella asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Your minds are open to me. Not by choice, it is simply the nature of my species to perceive the thoughts of others." Naira's expression shifted, the patterns on her skin dimming slightly. "I apologize if this causes discomfort. I can attempt to suppress this ability, though it is difficult." Isabella stepped closer to the quarantine field. "You sent me images before you lost consciousness. You were trying to warn us about something." "Yes." Naira's hands, 6-fingered and elegant, clasped together in her lap. "What I am about to tell you will be difficult to believe, but time is short, and I have nowhere else to turn." Over the next hour, Naira wove a tale that chilled Isabella to her core. The Xylaxians, she explained, were not merely reclusive by choice, they were guardians, keeping watch over an ancient threat that had nearly destroyed the galaxy eons ago. An entity they called the Void Consciousness, a collective intelligence that consumed entire civilizations, transforming organic life into extensions of its vast, dark will. "For millennia, we contained it in the space between spaces," Naira continued, her voice growing hoarse. "But there was betrayal. From within. Some of our own believed we could control it, use its power. They were wrong. Now it spreads, corrupting everything it touches. Your species, humanity, you're different. Your minds are resistant, in ways we never expected. Resistant to what, exactly? Teresa asked, her hand unconsciously moving closer to her weapon. Before Naira could answer, the station's alert system blared to life. Commander. Harrison's voice crackled through the comm, we're picking up multiple fold space signatures at the edge of the sector. Isabella was already moving. Stay with her, she ordered Teresa, breaking into a run toward the command center. The scene that greeted her there sent ice through her veins. The main display showed 5 massive vessels emerging from fold space, their designs similar to Naira's ship but corrupted somehow, their once elegant lines twisted into nightmarish configurations. The organic metal of their hulls writhed and pulsed with sickly bioluminescence. They're not responding to hails, Harrison reported, his fingers flying over the controls. Energy signatures are off the charts, and they're heading straight for us. Isabella's mind raced. The Horizon was a research station, their weapons were defensive at best, designed to deal with pirates and debris, not a potential invasion force. They needed help, but the nearest military outpost was days away at best. The command center doors hissed open, and Naira stumbled in, supported by Teresa. The Xylaxian's skin had gone pale, her patterns flickering erratically. They're here, she whispered, terror evident in her voice. The corrupted ones. My former people, now vessels for the void. Those ships, Isabella demanded, how do we fight them? You can't. Not directly. Naira straightened, her 3 eyes fixed on the approaching vessels. But I can show you something that might give us a chance. In my ship's core, there's a weapon, the last of its kind. But accessing it requires both Xylaxian and human consciousness working in perfect harmony. Why human specifically? Because your minds. Naira's patterns pulsed with urgent intensity. Your ability to adapt, to think in ways we never considered, it's the key to everything. The void cannot predict you as it predicts us. That's why they fear you. Why they're coming to destroy this station before you can realize your potential. The nearest enemy vessel launched what appeared to be a probe, its surface crawling with the same sickly light as its parent ship. As it approached, Isabella felt a shadow pass over her thoughts, an alien presence trying to seep into her consciousness. They're scanning us, Naira explained, gripping the command console for support. Looking for weaknesses. We have minutes, at most, before they begin their attack. Isabella looked around the command center, at her crew, humans who had signed up to explore the cosmos, not fight an ancient evil. But in their eyes, she saw not fear, but determination. They had come too far to back down now. What do you need from us? She asked Naira. The Xylaxian's pattern stabilized, glowing with renewed purpose. Your trust, she said simply. And your mind. What I'm about to propose will put everyone on this station at risk. If I'm lying, if I betray you, it could mean the end of everything you hold dear. Isabella thought of the images she'd seen in her dreams, of worlds burning and civilizations falling. She thought of humanity's long journey to the stars, driven by an insatiable curiosity and an unshakable determination to survive against all odds. Show me, she said. The enemy ships drew closer, their twisted forms blotting out the stars. Whatever Naira was planning, they were out of time to debate its merits. The next few minutes would determine not just their fate, but possibly the fate of all humanity. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, something ancient and hungry watched, and waited. The journey to Naira's deteriorating ship felt like the longest spacewalk of Isabella's life. Each step through the connecting umbilical was accompanied by the distant thunder of the enemy vessel's approach, their presence a growing weight in her mind. Behind her, Ria and Teresa moved with practiced precision, while Dr. Kumar monitored their vital signs remotely from the Horizon's medical bay. The core chamber is ahead, Naira's voice echoed in their helmet comms. The Xylaxian moved with surprising grace despite her injuries, her environmental suit modified to accommodate her unique physiology. But I must warn you, what you're about to see may challenge everything you understand about reality. They entered through what remained of the ship's main corridor. The organic walls had begun to calcify, cracking like ancient bark. Yet somehow, impossibly, patterns of light still pulsed beneath the surface, responding to Naira's presence. Multiple contacts. Harrison's voice crackled through their comms. The enemy ships are launching boarding pods. ETA 3 minutes. Isabella fought down her rising anxiety. How much further? Here. Naira stopped before a spiral aperture that seemed to bend light around its edges. She placed her six-fingered hand against a pattern in the wall, and the door dissolved like smoke. The core chamber defied physics. It was simultaneously vast and intimate, its boundaries shifting like a living thing. At its center floated a crystalline structure that hurt to look at directly, not because it was bright, but because it seemed to exist in more dimensions than human eyes were meant to process. The Nexus key, Naira explained, her patterns glowing with increased intensity. The last of the great weapons created before my people became guardians. It doesn't destroy, it reveals. Truth in its purest form, cutting through all deception. And this will help us against the void. How, exactly? Teresa asked, her hand instinctively reaching for her weapon. Before Naira could answer, the ship shuddered violently. Through their neural links to the Horizon systems, they saw the enemy pods attaching themselves to multiple points along the station's hull. They're cutting through. Harrison shouted. Multiple breaches reported in sections 7, 12, and 15. Isabella's mind raced. They were out of time. What do you need me to do? Naira moved to the crystal structure, her movements suddenly hesitant. I need to create a neural bridge between our minds, through the Nexus key. But... She turned to face Isabella, all three eyes glowing with an inner light. There's something you must know first. Something I haven't told you. The ship shook again. Through their neural links, they could hear screaming from the horizon, the first sounds of combat. Whatever it is, make it fast, Isabella urged. The void consciousness, it wasn't always our enemy. It was us. A version of my people from a potential future who tried to transcend physical form. They succeeded, but the process drove them mad. What they became, what they are now, we created them. The revelation hung in the air like a physical thing. Teresa's weapon was out now, pointed squarely at Naira. You're telling us your people are responsible for this thing that's trying to destroy us? Yes. Naira's patterns dimmed with shame. We contained them for millennia, hoping to find a cure. But now they've evolved, adapted. They've learned to corrupt and convert other organic beings into extensions of their consciousness. The only ones they can't easily corrupt are humans. Your minds are chaotic, unpredictable. You don't think the way we do. That's why they fear you. Why they've come to destroy you before you can realize your potential. Another explosion rocked the ship. Through their neural links, they saw creatures boarding the horizon, twisted things that had once been Xylaxian, their silver skin now black as space, their patterns writhing with sickly light. Commander, Harrison's voice was strained, we can't hold them much longer. They're getting into people's minds. Turning them. Isabella made her decision. What do you need me to do? Join your consciousness with mine through the key. Your chaos, your humanity, combined with my people's knowledge, it might be enough to reveal the truth of what they are to everyone in this sector. To break their hold on the corrupted. And if it doesn't work? Teresa demanded. Then we die, Naira said simply. But if we do nothing, humanity will fall. Just as my people did. Just as countless others have. Isabella stepped forward, removing her helmet. The chamber's atmosphere swirled around her, carrying scents of ozone and something older, something that reminded her of ancient forests and deep oceans. "Commander," Teresa warned, "this could be a trap." "If it is," Isabella replied, "we're dead anyway." She turned to Naira. "Do it." The Xylaxian placed her hands on either side of Isabella's face. All three eyes locked with hers. "This will hurt," she warned. "And you will see things no human was meant to see. Are you ready?" Through their neural links, they heard more screaming from the horizon. The sound of humanity's future hanging by a thread. Isabella nodded. "Do it." Naira's consciousness crashed into hers like a tidal wave of light and sound. The Nexus key exploded with energy, and Isabella saw everything. The truth of the void. The future that might be. And something else, something neither of them expected to find in the space between their joined minds, a third way forward, born of human chaos and Xylaxian wisdom. That's all Isabella could process at first, pain and light and knowledge burning through her mind like solar fire. Naira's consciousness intertwined with hers through the Nexus key, showing her truths that no human mind was meant to contain. She saw the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth of the void, the desperate millennia of containment. But more than that, she saw possibilities, countless futures branching out like crystal formations, each one dependent on the choices they made in the next few moments. "Hold on," Naira's voice echoed in her mind. "Let it stabilize." Through their neural link to the horizon, they could sense the battle raging throughout the station. The corrupted beings, the void touched, were advancing deck by deck. Dr. Kumar had sealed himself in medical bay with several injured crew members. Harrison was coordinating what resistance he could from the command center. But they were losing. Then something changed. The chaos in Isabella's mind settled into patterns she could almost understand. Through Naira's guidance, she began to see the underlying structure of reality itself, the quantum framework that both her people and the void consciousness manipulated so easily. "There," Naira whispered in her thoughts. "Do you see it?" She did. The void wasn't just corrupting organic life, it was rewriting the quantum signature of matter itself, forcing order onto chaos, trying to reshape reality into something more controllable. More like itself. "Commander." Teresa's voice seemed to come from very far away. "We've got incoming." Isabella forced her physical eyes open, even as her mind remained connected to the vast network of knowledge flowing through the Nexus key. 3 void-touched beings had entered the chamber, former Xylaxians, their silver skin now black as space, their patterns writhing with sickly purple light. But through her enhanced perception, Isabella could see what they truly were, nodes of concentrated anti-chaos, trying to impose their version of order on the universe. Teresa's weapon discharged, the plasma bolt passing through one of the creatures without effect. They moved like liquid shadow, their forms rippling as they advanced. "The weapon is useless," Naira's thoughts rang clear in Isabella's mind. "They exist partially out of phase with our reality. But now you can see the truth, you can see how to fight them." Isabella understood. The chaotic nature of human consciousness, combined with Xylaxian knowledge of quantum manipulation, it wasn't just a defense. It was a key to unmaking what the void had done. She reached out with her enhanced perception, focusing on the nearest void-touched being. Instead of trying to destroy it, she looked for the patterns, the forced order it was trying to maintain. And then, drawing on that inherently human capacity for chaos and innovation, she introduced a single flaw into that pattern. The creature screamed, a sound that existed in multiple dimensions at once. Its perfect order began to unravel, the quantum structure of its corrupted form unable to maintain cohesion. In moments, it collapsed into its component particles, the void's influence dissipating like smoke. Yes. Naira's excitement flooded their joined minds. But we must go further. The horizon dash. A massive impact rocked the ship, nearly breaking their connection. Through their neural link, they saw one of the massive void vessels positioning itself directly above the station. They know what we've discovered, Naira's thoughts carried an edge of panic. They're going to destroy the station before we can spread this knowledge. Isabella pushed herself deeper into the connection, letting the Nexus key's power flow through her. How many can we save if we act now? Everyone within range of our combined consciousness. But Isabella, the strain might kill us both. No human was meant to channel this much quantum awareness. Another impact. Through their link, they heard Harrison's voice, hull breach in Section 3. We've got multiple compression failures. We can't take another hit like that. Isabella thought of her crew, of humanity's long journey to the stars, of all the possible futures she'd glimpsed through the Nexus key. Some were dark, full of corruption and loss. But others showed humanity and the Xylaxians working together, using their combined strengths to build something new. Something neither species could achieve alone. Do it, she commanded. Their joined consciousness exploded outward like a quantum supernova. Isabella felt her mind touch every person on the station, every corrupted being, even the vast collective consciousness of the void itself. Through the Nexus key, she and Naira showed them all the truth, not just of what the void was, but of what it could become if it abandoned its quest for perfect order. The pain was indescribable. Isabella felt as if her very atoms were being torn apart and reassembled. She heard Naira screaming, felt Teresa trying to support her physical body as it convulsed. But she couldn't stop. Not until she was sure. The void-touched beings throughout the station began to transform. Some simply unraveled, like the first one she'd encountered. Others, perhaps those not fully corrupted, began to revert to their original forms. And the massive ships above. Their quantum structure is destabilizing, Naira's thoughts were growing weaker. But Isabella, the backlash. The last thing Isabella saw before consciousness fled was a burst of light brighter than any star, and a future that might yet be possible, if they survived the next few moments to see it born. Isabella awoke to the soft beeping of medical equipment and the gentle hum of the Horizon systems. Her mind felt different, expanded somehow, as if she'd gained an entirely new sense she couldn't quite name. Opening her eyes required tremendous effort, but when she managed it, she found Dr. Kumar checking her vitals. "Welcome back, Commander," he said softly. "You've been unconscious for 3 days." She tried to speak, found her throat too dry, and accepted the water he offered. After a few sips, she managed to ask, "The station? The crew? Safe?" Kumar's expression was a mixture of awe and lingering disbelief. "Whatever you and Naira did, it worked. The void ships, the corrupted beings, they just transformed. Some disappeared entirely, but others." He paused, searching for words. "You should see for yourself, when you're strong enough." It took another day before Isabella could stand, and even then, she needed support to walk to the observation deck. What she saw there stopped her breath. Where the void ships had been, 5 crystalline structures now orbited the station, their surfaces refracting starlight in impossible patterns. They were beautiful in a way that defied description, order and chaos existing in perfect harmony. "They're alive," Naira's voice came from behind her. The Xylaxian looked different now, her patterns more complex, shifting with new colors Isabella's human eyes could barely process. But not as they were before. "What we didn't just stop them. We showed them another way." Isabella turned carefully, still mindful of her weakness. The void consciousness changed. Through your mind, through humanity's inherent chaos, they saw what they'd forgotten. That true transcendence isn't about imposing perfect order. It's about finding harmony between order and chaos. Naira moved to stand beside her at the window. "They're communicating with us now. Learning. Growing. Becoming something entirely new. And your people? The ones who were corrupted? Many have been restored, though they're changed too. We all are. Naira's patterns shifted to show something like amusement. It seems exposure to human consciousness leaves a lasting mark. The door hissed open, and Teresa entered with Harrison and Rhea. All three stopped short when they saw Isabella standing. "Commander," Teresa started, then seemed at a loss for words. "Report," Isabella said, falling back on familiar protocol. Harrison stepped forward. "The quantum distortions are stabilizing throughout the sector. We're getting calls from every outpost and colony within range. They all experienced the same revelation we did. The knowledge you and Naira shared, it's changing everything we thought we knew about space, time, consciousness itself. The scientific implications alone are staggering," Rhea added, her eyes bright with excitement. "The harmonics we're detecting from those crystalline structures, they're teaching us things about quantum mechanics that our best theories never even imagined." Isabella turned back to the window, watching the play of light across the transformed ships. "And what happens now?" "That," Naira said softly, "depends on what humanity chooses to do with this knowledge. My people hid from the universe, tried to contain our mistakes alone. We saw only order or chaos, never the possibility of something in between. But humans." Her patterns shifted to something like hope. "You see possibilities where we saw only absolutes. Perhaps that's why this was always meant to be." Through her transformed consciousness, Isabella could sense the truth in Naira's words. The quantum awareness that had been awakened in her showed her glimpses of potential futures, humanity and the Xylaxians working together, the transformed void beings sharing their transcendent knowledge, a new age of exploration and discovery guided by the understanding that the universe was neither chaos nor order, but an endless dance between the two. "We'll need help," Isabella said. "Guides to understand these changes, to help us use this knowledge responsibly." "You'll have it." Naira's patterns pulsed with commitment. "My people are already abandoning their isolation. What happened here has shown us a new path forward, one we can walk together." The crystalline structures above them shifted, creating a display of light and quantum resonance that seemed to sing to Isabella's enhanced perception. She saw her crew watching in wonder, their minds already beginning to adapt to this new reality in ways uniquely human, asking questions, seeking patterns, imagining possibilities that even the Xylaxians hadn't considered. "Commander," Harrison said, breaking the spell of the moment. "Central Command is requesting a full report. They're picking up similar transformations across multiple sectors. The whole galaxy is changing. They want to know what to tell people." Isabella smiled, thinking of all the futures she'd glimpsed through the Nexus key. "Tell them the truth. Tell them that humanity just took its first real step into the universe. And we're not walking alone anymore." She felt Naira's approval through their lingering connection, saw the pride in her crew's faces, and knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, human chaos and Xylaxian wisdom, transformed void beings and whatever new wonders they might discover among the stars. The universe was vast, full of mysteries and possibilities they were only beginning to understand. But for the first time, Isabella felt truly ready to explore it. Not as commander of a research station, but as part of something much larger, a new chapter in the story of conscious life itself. Above them, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if welcoming them to this new age of discovery and cooperation. The future was uncertain, but it was full of hope.